Money isn't complicated. It just exposes how wildly unprepared most people are to handle it. Fact 1. School taught you fractions, not financial gravity. Here's the thing nobody warned you about in school. Money behaves like gravity. It either pulls you upward or slams you into the pavement, depending entirely on how early you learn its rules. But instead of teaching you compound interest, credit leverage, or why your future self will bill you for today's stupidity, school fed you decades of worksheets about triangles. Useful, if you ever need to negotiate with a carpenter. The truth? Wealth is built on exponential math, not effort. $1 invested at 18 does more work than $10 invested at 28. Time is your only free employee. But because nobody told you that, you fired it before it could even clock in. That's why most people start building wealth exactly when they should already be letting it compound. And here's the part that sounds harsh, but is absolutely real. The world doesn't reward intelligence. It rewards alignment with math. Once you understand compounding, you stop chasing money and start letting money chase you. Fact 2. Your brain thinks money is a tiger. Here's a fun glitch in human software. Your brain reacts to financial uncertainty the same way it reacts to a predator hiding in tall grass. That's why even the smartest people panic buy useless stuff, avoid investing, or hoard savings like they're preparing for financial winter. School never taught you this, but your biology is stuck in the Stone Age, and it absolutely hates delayed rewards. When you see $500 in your bank account, your ancient brain whispers, "Use it now before the tribe steals it." That's why long-term planning feels uncomfortable, even suspicious. You're not lazy, you're outdated hardware trying to run modern economics. And the world punishes that instinct ruthlessly. The people who win financially aren't the smartest. They're the ones who override panic with systems. They treat money like physics, predictable, measurable, unemotional. They automate saving, invest on schedules, and ignore the adrenaline spike that tells them to wait for the right moment. You want to grow? Learn to outsmart your own instincts. That's the first real upgrade money demands. Fact 3. Being busy is just a fancy way to stay broke. School rewarded you for staying busy. Neat notes, long hours, perfect attendance, congratulations. None of that translates into income. In the real world, busy people get exhausted, and strategic people get rich. The difference? Busy people trade time for approval. Strategic people trade time for leverage. You can grind 12 hours a day and still lose to the person who spent 2 hours building a system that works without them. Productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing fewer things that matter. But your education trained you to worship effort instead of outcome. So now you confuse motion with progress. Every wealthy person eventually learns the same truth. If you're the engine, you'll burn out. If you build engines, you'll scale. Stop treating hard work like a religion. Treat it like scaffolding, useful at the beginning, embarrassing if it's still holding up your entire building. The moment you measure output instead of hours, your income graph stops acting like a flat line and starts acting like a staircase. Fact 4. Your social circle is a financial algorithm. School told you to choose friends wisely, but that advice was never about emotional safety. It was about economic trajectory. Humans mirror their environment. You earn like the people you talk to, spend like the people you hang out with, and dream only as big as the people you think are normal. If your circle panics about $20 decisions, you'll panic about $20 decisions. If your circle treats wealth like a distant fairy tale, you'll subconsciously cap your ambition to fit in. Social gravity is real, and it pulls harder than motivation ever will. Wealthy people don't network. They upgrade environments. They don't chase smarter friends. They place themselves where smart people already exist, then adapt upward. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your future net worth is hiding inside someone else's group chat. Change that room, and your brain rewrites its financial blueprint without you even noticing. You don't rise alone. You rise by proximity. Fact 5. School taught you to fear failure, not profit from it. Remember how school punished every mistake like it was a character flaw? One wrong answer, one bad test, and suddenly you're not trying hard enough. That conditioning sticks. As adults, most people avoid financial risks, not because the risks are big, but because failure feels like humiliation. But in the real world, failure is just data. The richest people treat mistakes like prototypes. They iterate, they test, they adjust. Meanwhile, most people treat money like an exam where they only get one shot, so they never shoot at all. The irony? Failure in business is safer than failure in school ever felt. You can lose money, regroup, and try again. You can pivot, scale, reinvent. No one is grading you. No one cares. That's the freedom school never explained. The freedom to experiment. Want a shortcut to thinking like a high-level entrepreneur? Stop asking, what if it goes wrong? Start asking, what data will I get if it does? That mindset alone separates stagnation from compounding. Fact 6. Your income is not the problem. Your default settings are. Everyone thinks they need more income. No, you need a software update. Because if your internal operating system is built on scarcity, fear, and short-term dopamine hits, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You'll still behave like someone one paycheck away from disaster. You know how people say, if I made more, I'd save more? Cute theory. Reality says, if you can't manage $1,000, you'll mismanage $10,000 even faster. The number isn't the issue. Your autopilot is. Everything you repeatedly do, overspending, emotional purchases, procrastinating investing, comes from unconscious scripts you didn't write but still follow. Wealthy people don't try to control money. They control their defaults. They design rules, automatic investments, fixed savings percentages, spending caps, weak point blocking. Systems beat willpower every time. The moment you stop relying on mood and start relying on structure, your finances stop being chaotic and start becoming predictable. Money doesn't change you. It amplifies whatever your settings already are. Update them. Fact 7. Your attention is the most valuable currency you own. School trained you to guard your grades. The world demands you guard your attention. Because here's the truth, your focus is worth far more than your money. Brands, apps, politicians, marketers, they're not competing for your dollars. They're competing for your concentration. Your money follows wherever your attention goes next. Scroll long enough and you'll start wanting things you never wanted. Compare long enough and you'll start buying things to catch up with people who don't even think about you. This is why the average person can't build wealth. Not because they're financially illiterate, but because their mind is hijacked 6 hours a day by digital slot machines. Wealthy people treat attention like a limited resource. They gatekeep it. They eliminate junk inputs. They don't follow people who drain them. They don't read news that panics them. They curate their environment like it's sacred. Your financial life starts improving the second you reclaim your focus from the billion-dollar machines built to steal it. You can't build wealth when you're mentally bankrupt. Fact 8. You're rewarded for thinking small until the bill arrives. School teaches small goals, small projects, small deadlines, small expectations. Hit the target, get the grade, move on. So as adults, people set goals that won't embarrass them if they fail. Safe, achievable, boring goals. But small goals have one fatal flaw. They create small lives, and the world punishes small thinking with big consequences. Inflation eats your savings. Rent rises faster than your raises. Skills expire. Opportunities skip over you because you've trained yourself to avoid anything with friction. Do you know why high achievers seem fearless? They're not fearless. They're calibrated. They understand that thinking big isn't about ego. It's about survival. If your goals don't stretch you, the economy will. And trust me, the economy has zero mercy. Dream bigger not for bragging rights, but because small ambition is financially dangerous. Comfort is a luxury you can't afford if you want freedom. Fact 9. School taught you to chase answers, not to ask better questions. In school, success is knowing the right answers. In life, success is asking the right questions. That's why so many brilliant people stay broke. They're solving tiny problems with perfect accuracy while completely ignoring the questions that would actually change their life. Most people ask, how can I save more? Wrong question. Try, how can I increase my earning power? How can I replace myself with systems? How can I turn skills into cash flow? See the difference? School conditioned you to avoid curiosity. It made questions feel like weakness, uncertainty, lack of preparation. But in business, in wealth building, in entrepreneurship, questions are leverage. Great questions open doors, attract mentors, reveal blind spots, and expose opportunities hiding in plain sight. The people who rise aren't the ones with the smartest answers. They're the ones who challenge the default rules everyone else blindly follows. If you want a wealth upgrade, upgrade the questions you're willing to ask. Fact 10. You confuse. Movement with momentum. Most people live in permanent hustle mode, running, grinding, multitasking, chasing every notification like it's oxygen. And then they wonder why their life feels like a treadmill set to panic. School praised activity. Fill the worksheet, finish the task, stay busy. But the real world rewards momentum, not movement. Movement means you're occupied. Momentum means you're advancing. You can spend 8 hours working and accomplish nothing that compounds. You can also make one strategic decision that elevates your income for years. That's why entrepreneurs look strangely calm. They're not superhuman. They simply refuse to worship busyness the way most people do. Your financial evolution begins the moment you stop asking, "What should I work on today?" and start asking, "What will create future motion without me?" Momentum is wealth's best friend. Activity is its cheapest imitation. Fact 11. Discomfort is a currency, and you've been underpaying. The wealthiest people aren't braver. They're more tolerant of controlled discomfort. They negotiate when others stay silent. They invest when others hesitate. They learn skills that make their ego sweat. Meanwhile, most people stay broke because they treat discomfort like a threat instead of a doorway. School conditioned you to avoid pain. Don't raise your hand unless you're sure. Don't risk doing something wrong. Don't stand out. But in the real world, avoiding discomfort is the most expensive choice you can make. Every life upgrade demands temporary friction. Higher income, uncomfortable conversations. Better opportunities, uncomfortable competence. Stronger network, uncomfortable introductions. Wealth is built on micro moments where you choose growth over ease. If you want a life others can't imagine, start tolerating discomfort they won't touch. Fortune doesn't reward comfort, it rewards endurance. Fact 12. School prepared. You for jobs, not leverage. School's biggest hidden flaw. It prepares you to be an employee in a world where leverage decides the winners. You were trained to trade hours for money, obedience for approval, and productivity for permission. That's why most people hit an income ceiling. They're using a ladder in a world built for elevators. Leverage is what multiplies your effort. Technology, capital, audience, systems, partnerships. One person with high leverage outperforms 100 people working hard. That's why wealthy individuals look like they're bending the rules, because they are. They're using leverage the way school taught you to use effort. The irony? Leverage is learnable. But you'll never unlock it if you're clinging to the old programming that taught you to play small, follow instructions, and fear mistakes. If you're not using leverage, you're not in the game. You're just in the arena, cheering for those who are. Fact 13. You think success is linear. It's actually a series of jumps. School taught you to expect progress in neat increments, grade by grade, chapter by chapter, test by test. So when adult life hits you with plateaus, droughts, setbacks, and silent years of invisible progress, you panic. You think you're behind. You think you're failing. But real success comes in jumps, sudden leaps after long stretches of quiet discipline. One deal, one skill, one person, one opportunity. That's all it takes to redefine your financial trajectory. But most people give up during the boring middle, never realizing they were 2 inches away from the breakthrough. Wealth feels slow until it feels instant. Growth looks invisible until it looks inevitable. The people who rise are the ones who stay consistent during the illusion of stagnation. If you can handle the plateau, you earn the jump. Fact 14. School taught you to chase approval, not autonomy. From childhood, you learned to chase gold stars, grades, praise, permission. External validation became your fuel, but approval is addictive and financially devastating. Because the moment you rely on others to feel right, you lose the ability to make decisions that serve your long-term freedom. Approval seekers choose safe careers, safe risks, safe dreams. They fear judgment more than poverty. They stay quiet during negotiations. They shrink their ambitions to avoid criticism. They build a life that looks respectable and feels suffocating. But wealth requires autonomy, the courage to think independently, decide boldly, and take actions others don't understand yet. Successful people don't rebel for attention. They simply stop asking for permission to live. Your financial life transforms the moment you trade. Validation for sovereignty. Approval fades. freedom compounds. Fact 15. You think skills make money, but it's actually signal. School convinced you that skills equal income. Get good, get paid, simple, too simple. In reality, the world doesn't reward the most skilled. It rewards the most visible. Skill is value. Signal is leverage. And most people only build the first one. You can be a genius with zero impact if nobody knows you exist. Meanwhile, someone half as talented but 10 times more visible will pass you effortlessly. Not because they're better, but because they understood the game. Top performers don't just master skills, they broadcast competence. They build reputation, credibility, networks, and narrative. They become the obvious choice. If you want to earn like someone valuable, you have to look valuable before anyone even hires you. Not by faking, by signaling. Your portfolio, your projects, your conversations, your online footprint. Skill is the engine. Signal is the fuel. No fuel, no movement. Fact 16. Most people don't have financial problems. They have time problems. People say they're broke because they don't earn enough. Wrong. They're broke because their schedule is owned by everyone but themselves. You can't build wealth if your entire day is reactive, answering, responding, replying, firefighting, surviving. School taught you to obey bells, deadlines, and other people's priorities. So now your adult life is a parade of obligations disguised as responsibilities. Your time is fragmented, your energy is scattered, your goals get whatever scraps remain. Wealthy people guard time like it's treasure. They batch decisions. They eliminate low-value tasks. They buy back hours with money, not the other way around. They don't ask, "Can I afford this?" They ask, "Will this give me time back?" Because here's the real truth. Money is abundant. Time is not. And the moment your minutes belong to you, your money starts following. Fact 17. Your comfort zone is rigged to keep you average. Your comfort zone isn't a cozy mental space. It's a psychological trap designed for survival, not success. It's the reason you stay at jobs you've outgrown, avoid risks that could elevate you, and cling to routines that slowly strangle your potential. School taught you to prioritize predictability. Same schedule, same structure, same expectations. So now the unfamiliar feels dangerous, even when it's the exact thing that would change your life. Wealthy people operate differently. They intentionally seek environments that stretch them. New markets, new rooms, new industries, new problems. They put themselves in situations where they're the least experienced person in the room. Why? Because that discomfort rewires their capacity. Your comfort zone will fight to keep you average. Your ambition will fight to escape. Only one can win. The second you choose growth over familiarity, your financial ceiling cracks. Fact 18. Your biggest wealth factor isn't money, it's identity. Schools shape your identity before you even realize you have one. You become the quiet kid, the smart kid, the average kid, the troublemaker, the obedient one. Labels become limits. Limits become self-fulfilling. And suddenly you're 25, 35, 45, still living inside a personality you never consciously designed. But wealth is built from identity, not income. If you see yourself as someone who just gets by, you'll subconsciously sabotage every opportunity that threatens that story. If you see yourself as someone capable, resourceful, creative, and inevitable, the world starts rearranging itself around that version of you. Every wealthy person you admire has one thing in common. They built a new identity that their old environment would have laughed at. Then they became proof it was real. Rewrite your identity and your finances won't just rise, they'll evolve. So tell me, which buried financial glitch punched you in the face today? Complain, confess, or roast yourself in the comments. I'll be judging silently.